Today we're going to the Middle East, where they really don't celebrate Christmas. The Muslim Brotherhood. Now, that's an Islamic terror group. It's so dangerous that it's banned in Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Egypt. Well, this year in the U.S., Texas and Florida have designated the group a foreign terrorist organization.
In the coming days, the Trump administration is expected to do the same. Paul Petite explains the dangers the Muslim Brotherhood poses to America.
President Trump's executive order follows a lengthy report from the Institute for the Study of Global Antisemitism and Policy.
This is an organization that believes in murdering Jews, destroying Israel, and destroying the United States of America. This is their objective.
Institute Director Charles Asher Small stood alongside lawmakers and scholars, issuing a warning that the Brotherhood is halfway through a 100-year agenda to undermine and destroy democracy. Founded almost a century ago, the Muslim Brotherhood now operates across the Middle East. Hamas began as its Palestinian branch.
They've sponsored terrorism, murder, mayhem across the planet. They are a very negative and destructive force, and it is so important that the United States use its power and its influence to call them out for what they are.
The report points to how the Brotherhood's civilization jihad strategy infects academia by using the Muslim Students Association and Students for Justice in Palestine, the latter being a major force behind violent anti-Israel protests at Columbia University. The report claims these groups have been able to influence universities and government agencies. Dr. Small points to the election of Zohran Mamdani as New York City mayor as evidence.
He came out of SJP. He was a student activist for Students for Justice in Palestine at Bowdoin College, where he went to. And it's important for your listeners to understand that SJP comes out of AMP, American Muslims for Palestine, which is a Muslim Brotherhood-backed organization.
Trump's executive order states that Muslim Brotherhood chapters in Lebanon, Jordan, and Egypt threaten U.S. interests. Middle East analyst Dr. Mike Evans says he urged President Trump to also target Brotherhood-linked operations in Syria, Turkey, and Qatar.
Listen, the Muslim Brotherhood and Qatar, they funded and fueled terror. They fueled al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Iran, and Hamas. So these people hate us.
Decisions by Texas and Florida governors to put the terror label on both the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE are being fought in court.
One of the founders of the Texas branch of CARE was sent to prison for 65 years for financing terrorism. The fact of the matter is there are people associated with CARE who pose a serious danger.
Given Trump's order, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent must submit a joint report before year's end. The Brotherhood is already banned as a terror organization in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Russia, Syria, and Jordan. But the report says they continue to operate in Qatar and Turkey, funding political and media influence worldwide.
Qatar is buying favor with BBC and the CNN and other media outlets, Al Jazeera, and it's now into our political system.
Evans says a move by U.S. could cut off that influence.
It's a game changer. When you designated a terrorist organization, they have no room to move anymore. They've been able to manipulate their way through the political system. They've been able to use money and influence and lobbies, etc. All of that will change once they're exposed to the light.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has praised Trump's initiative and indicates Israel could follow with its own designation. Israel Deputy Foreign Minister Sharon Haskell told Christian and Jewish leaders that Western civilization itself is at stake.
We've seen the movements of radical jihadist groups who say very clearly that what they seek is the destruction of Western civilization as we know it today, democracy, freedom, and to replace that with an Islamist tyranny, with a jihadist imperialism, to have an Islamic rule over the world.
Paul Petite, CBN News, Jerusalem.
That is their stated goal. They want Sharia law to be the law of every land on the planet. That has been their goal, and it's been their goal for centuries. Just look at the history of the invasions of Europe the Battle of Tours, the Siege of Vienna, how Constantinople fell to the Ottomans. It's all designed to institute Sharia law. And famously, the Sultan rode horseback into the Hagia Sophia, the largest cathedral in the world, and announced Sharia law from that cathedral, that he was taking it over and turning it into a mosque. Now let's get a little history lesson. This is recent history. Let's go back to the Obama administration in 2009. During his campaign, he vowed he would make a major address in a Muslim capital, and so he did it, and it's called the Cairo Speech. The title of it is A New Beginning. He made it in 2009 in Cairo, in Egypt, a Muslim country capital. Now, before that speech, he made sure the Egyptian authorities gave place to the Muslim Brotherhood. He forced them to sit members of the Muslim Brotherhood in the audience, and not just anywhere. He gave them place and position on the front row. And he said, I'm trying to repair the damage the Bush administration did to Muslim countries. That was the whole purpose of that speech. Well, within a short time, the Muslim Brotherhood took over Egypt, and it took a military coup to get them out of power. In a short time, they moved into positions of authority in Turkey and in Qatar, and they spread their influence around the world. At the same time, the President Obama was doing that, his Director of National Security was telling Congress, testifying that the Muslim Brotherhood is not a terror group, but a social welfare organization. It was a complete reset, a complete redo. Now, to add to it, Obama is the reason Hamas was headquartered in Qatar. He asked the Qataris to take them in because the only other option in negotiations was to do it in Iran and Tehran, and Iran wasn't open. And so he asked Qatar to house the leadership of the Muslim Brotherhood and of Hamas. So you look at these facts and you go, where did we go so wrong in not understanding the very imminent danger of this kind of radical Muslim ideology? We're seeing it carried out around the world, and we need to wake up to it, that there are radical groups within Islam that think they're the true Muslims, and that anyone that doesn't join with ISIS, doesn't acknowledge the new caliphate, or isn't trying to wipe Israel off the map, that they're not true Muslims, and they need to have jihad, they need to have resistance. In the Bush administration, they tried to convince us that Islam means peace. Islam doesn't mean that, it means submission. And you have to jihad until the entire area, all the territory that you can control, comes under submission to Sharia law. That's their goal, and they've been saying it for centuries. It's about time we wake up to it. Europe woke up to it over 1,000 years ago and realized what the enemy at their border was, and what they were trying to do. It's about time that we wake up to it. And whether it's these fundraising groups or distributing Muslim ideology, all of this, we have to recognize it for what it is. They do not believe in free speech. They do not believe in freedom of religion. They do not believe in freedom of assembly. They don't believe in all the things that made America great. Let's recognize it. Let's stand against it.